Before we started the podcast today, I wanted to take a second to thank everybody from the fans that were here when Petey and I just first got started to the fans that found us when we added Dimitri Young, Darren McCarty, Jason Kindle, Lars Fredrickson. Thank you to everybody. And without you guys, this podcast could not grow. And you are doing a thank you. You don't know how happy it makes us each week when we find new fans who are excited, who maybe have read somewhere. A lot of them have come through Rancid. So for you Rancid fans, welcome to the show. Hopefully you will help us out by just telling a friend. That's the only thing we've really asked for. We don't do a good job of promoting. So before we, drop this interview on you guys, I do want to say, please, if you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at WP_pod. We're on Instagram at Wrestling Perspective Pod. I had to think about that one. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to add to the show, feel free to email us at wrestlingperspective@gmail.com. Your emails will be read. Your emails will be read on air, sometimes with guests, sometimes without. We will be doing some shows upcoming without a guest. So you'll get more of our perspective on wrestling. But that's really about it. And tell a friend. If you, we have a Twitch channel now, and if you're on Twitch, please subscribe to it. It's brand new. I think we have under 100 followers. And tell a friend. Like I said, that's the only thing we ask for from you guys. And thank you. And by the way, we're not just on Twitch, and we're not on YouTube, just on YouTube. But if you want to just listen to the audio version of the podcast, take it with you wherever you go. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, everywhere, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts, that's where we are. Once again, on behalf of everybody on the show, thank you. Thank you so much for listening and watching it and finding it. And hopefully you'll enjoy some of the past. MJF was a great one. Kurt Angle was a fun interview. CM Punk, as you guys are finding out, we have a ton of guys. Even if you don't know who that wrestler is, go check it out because it's a fun interview. So without further, I guess, let's start the podcast. Enjoy, guys. It's the only wrestling podcast on earth with one MLB All-Star who's not here today, Dimitri Young. I think he may pop in a little bit later. Lars Fredrickson from Rancid, who is not here. Get well soon. He got in a little accident, and maybe he'll tell it on the next podcast.
I sure hope he does because it's hilarious. But
we have a 4-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty, who may or may not show up. It's up in the air. We have 2-time X Division champion.
How's she going, eh?
I'm not even done with your intro. The man behind the man at Impact Wrestling. My best friend and yours, Petey Williams.
How's she going, eh?
There you go. And a guy who I'm really excited about. I can't wait because it's been dumb luck that he made some major news last week. By the way, we're pre-recording this.
Yeah.
So, made some major news after I asked him to be on the podcast. So it wasn't like, oh, come on the podcast, we're going to vulture this story. So dumb luck. We got lucky.
I only did it for you guys.
Yeah.
That's what I told them. And everybody was like, no way. I'm like, Joey's that kind of guy. I don't know what to tell you. Where I'm going to do a great stunt for some strange guy on the internet that I have no clue, but he knows a lot of cool, famous people. That's kind of how the story went. But the bad boy himself, Joey Janela. Joey, thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Hey, no problem. Had nothing else to do on a Wednesday night.
By the way, before we start throwing topics at you and talking wrestling, I have to say the work you've done with Sunny Kiss has been some of my favorite stuff I've seen in 2021. And I really hope you guys continue to do some stuff like that because it's refreshing.
Oh yeah. It kind of was a thrown together thing. They wanted to team us up at the Prudential Center show that never happened because of COVID, since we're both from New Jersey. And then I guess just when we started doing the tapings down in Jacksonville, they just ran with it. And, we've been holding it down for the YouTube show. And that's just as important than the TV show because that attracts new viewers.
So let's go to how'd you get, obviously been wrestling for a long time. I mean, we'll get into all your backstory, but let's just skip ahead to how you started with AEW. So how did that all come? Like, did you contact them? Did they contact you? Was it were you on their radar? Like, who contacted you?
A lot of people on the internet, a lot of people that don't like me, they assume that for some reason, I'm best friends with the Young Bucks. That's not the case. I was doing a string of successful independent shows with Game Changer Wrestling called Spring Break. Had a lot of buzz around them, and I had a lot of buzz around some of my indie matches and some of the stuff I was doing, video work and whatnot. And a lot of people didn't do that stuff a few years ago. It's a lot more prevalent now, thanks to me and John Carlo, the video guy that I worked with. But that caught their attention. And I decided just to send them a message on social media. I sent Matt Jackson a message to do the All In show. I didn't expect anything from it. I think I was drunk. I'm just like, whatever. I'll go send him a message. And he said, hell yeah. Let's, I talked to the boys. You're in. I said, okay, that's kind of strange, but okay, let's do it. And the show sold out. And me and Adam Page, we stole the show. Besides going 8 minutes over our time, which I don't know. I'm just an indie mud show fuck, outlaw wrestler. So I don't know anything about timing
8 minutes,
and
man.
TV.
Wow.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
That was just the first time. That was my first time on pay-per-view and whatnot. So, but yeah, besides that, it went awesome. And Tony was there at the show, and he, after watching that, was all on board the Janela train. So that's how me and AEW came about.
We had last week Eddie Edwards on, and we were talking to him about his aspirations later, whether he wants to be an agent or a commentary, do any of that stuff. And he kind of poo-pooed it, saying, look, I'm in the prime of my ring career. Why do I want to do any of that now? You're quite the opposite, because it seems like every time I turn on Fight TV, I see you behind a booth or a mic somewhere, just really homing your craft, and you pop up on the most obscure stuff that I really enjoy watching you on. Is this kind of like working on a plan B? Like, hey, listen, I'm going to become a multifaceted wrestler. Is agenting or anything like that also on your horizon?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. Booking, agenting, commentary. I've done just about anything you can think of in the wrestling business. It's also that I really have no backup plan. If the wrestling business is just one day just vanished for me, I would be kind of fucked. I'd be working at an Arby's or something. Nothing wrong with that, but just saying, I don't have a college degree and none of that. And I don't have a dental career, or I'm not a tattoo artist on the side. So kind of just, try to get everything as good as possible in case one day I can't wrestle. And I'll still have a job in this business through hard work and all the connections I've made over the last 16 years.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Out of all the stuff you've done outside of the wrestling, is there something you feel like you excel at or you really enjoy doing?
Just being creative, I think. My shows have proven a big facet of my brain. just being creative, thinking of stuff outside the box, whether a lot of fans like it or they don't. It appeals to someone. I like all the flavors of ice cream. That's how I liked my wrestling as a teenager. I like the technical stuff, the comedy stuff, the deathmatch stuff. I grew up in a good time to be an indie fan. So kind of take a little inspiration from that, and just finding new talent as well. I've guided in the last few years a lot of new and upcoming talent towards big contracts, and I've also helped guys reestablish themselves, guys like PCO and others. So
you talked about the GCW, the spring break. What number are you on now? Like coming up on?
I think this is next year in Dallas. I think that's 6.
Oh, 6. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Yes, it'll be 6 in Dallas.
Okay. So did you come up with that idea, or was that all your brainchild, or like how did that all happen?
Someone offered GCW a slot on the Gabe and Sal in WWE. They had like their little independent like festival that weekend, WrestleMania weekend. They offered us a slot. They thought, how can we make this work? It's going to be a show at midnight. And I was just coming up. I was getting a lot of buzz on social media, and they came to me, and they knew I could make it work. And I said, let's just do something out of the box and do good indie wrestling combined with craziness like the Invisible Man, combined with bringing guys back that haven't been seen or past their prime, and giving them a platform against some of the newer indie guys. So it worked out. It was awesome from the get-go. From the first tweet, it was a success.
Basically what he said, Pete, is you're not washed up enough to show up on any of this.
I guess I'm not. Another couple of years, Joey? What do you think?
Maybe a couple of years. You have to disappear. You have to disappear for 5. 5 years. Stop wrestling for 5 years, and I'll bring you back, and
then I'll be a bigger star.
That's it. I don't know. It worked for PCO. He won the Ring of Honor title, I think. So
yeah,
I don't
too. So I mean,
he's Canadian too. Yeah.
I'll follow in his footsteps. All right.
That's it. We'll just think of a new gimmick, like a Frankenstein gimmick or a Wolfman for you or something, and we'll bring it back. That's it.
Nobody knows he wrestles now. That's the beauty of it. Petey and I were just talking before you came on, and we were talking about the documentary you were in. And I got to know, I mean, that one of those, Pete, I'm going to let you ask this because this was kind of your question.
Yeah. The Please Don't Die. So I love that. I mean, I know it's a few years old and stuff like that. But who was it? Like Kenny Johnson or something like that?
Yeah. Kenny Johnson.
And he's done a few, right? So how'd you hook up with him, and like, what made you want to do this documentary? It's a fantastic documentary. Like,
oh, thank you, pal. Yeah, I really hold that one close. We were just, I was coming up around. This was around the same time that I was about to. I was getting my name out there, and GCW was coming up, and he wanted to film some stuff with me. And then the thing happened where I got thrown off a roof. I've talked about it enough. I don't think we have to go too much detail into that, but that happened, and it kind of blew me up more. And he came and did a few interviews with me, and just he made it a big project. And when it came out, it got a lot of buzz. And I think it's his most viewed documentary, and he has a few on there with some guys that became pretty successful. So I appreciate him doing that for me.
And so I have a couple follow-up questions that weren't answered, and I was thinking about when I watched that. So well documented that you had your first match and you were totally untrained. You knew nothing, right?
Yes.
You're like, I would have done the same thing, man. If I had the balls, I would have been like, yeah, man, I'm trained. I want to be a pro wrestler, And you said you were 15, and you said you had the match, and you briefly touched on how it went. I want to know more detail how it went, and will you say who it was that you wrestled?
Yeah. The first match
but I want to know who it was, because I was like, I wonder who he wrestled, and if the dude was pissed and was like, kid, what are you doing? Like that kind of thing.
No. These guys, the guy I wrestled is the guys that brought me in, so I was pretty safe in that matter. So by the time that the place I was at really, I don't know. I think people liked me like the little juvenile runt that I was. So I really never got beat up or anything coming in. The match is in front of four people somewhere in Pennsylvania. The promoter of the show, we knew him through another backyard wrestler who wrestled with us. I think I only learned how to bump and hit the ropes at that time and maybe do a couple chain wrestling reversals. So because I would set up the rings and they would go over stuff with me beforehand. But yeah, that was it. I got pretty hammered before the match, to be honest, at 15. Because when the promoter no-showed, it was at this place owned by this guy, the Rockin' Rebel, who
I know
went out in an unflattering way. But it was in his school, so he kind of took it over, and he got like 430 packs of beer. He thought I was 18 at least, because you can't wrestle under 18 in Pennsylvania. And he just kept on giving me beer, and he said, hold it in your left. If I see it in your right hand, you have to chug and grab another. By the time I wrestled, I think I was 12 deep. So
15, right?
At 15. So that was my first match. It was pretty cool, to be honest, because it was like, shit, I'm wrestling in a wrestling ring. It's pretty cool at that time, and the only thing I wrestled on was the trampoline. So got that one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I said I got that one done, and a few months later, another promoter asked, a well-known Carney indie promoter asked, I heard you did the show. How many tickets can you sell in your home area? I said, about 10. And then I only sold 3 or so, and I guess they liked me somewhat because they kept me around. So,
good. Now, my other question for that documentary, I noticed you held up your phone. You're like, Kevin Owens blocked me, and so did you ever? So two things. Did he unblock you? And because I know this is years ago, and then did you ever find out like why he blocked you?
He unblocked me. I'm cool with him now. I was cool with it after he watched this documentary. He unblocked me because he was like, why did I block him? But going back, I think it was because I took a picture of a bouncer at a bar who resembled Kevin Owens, and I said, look, this bouncer looks like Kevin Owens, so he just blocked my ass. I think that was it. So
ridiculous. All right.
But we're cool now. He lives actually right by me. I seen him at Target, but it was during like the height of COVID, so I didn't want to go up and say hello to him because yeah. But we've never met besides me as a fan. That was the farthest we ever came close to meeting. So we did meet, but I wasn't in the business yet. So
you are a very creative guy, and I kind of wanted to talk about your look, how you cultivated it, and do you spend any time thinking about how the bad boy character is going to evolve into the future, or do you just write it out, and if something happens, maybe you'll take the turn with that?
That's hard. Everything has to evolve, and I've come to notice that in the last year, because without a crowd being there for TV, I was at AEW when there was crowds there. I was doing big merch for them, and I was over, and then the crowds disappeared, and I had no crowd to rely on anymore. So that was hard because I'm a big, just go with the crowd guy. So the 2020 tried to kind of hurt me a little bit, but now I realize I have to evolve my character into something else to continue to move forward, and grow myself. It's like I'm trying to think what to compare it to. It's like a cryptocurrency, I guess. You just have to keep on it dips down a little bit, but then eventually it'll come back up. That's how I feel like it is. I'm not a big crypto guy or anything. I don't know. I didn't know what to compare it to. So,
I mean, I got a little bit of crypto. I think we all do. We don't have to.
Yeah, I have a little bit. I know.
It's down right now. Ethereum, coin.
That's what I lost about a couple thousand in the last week. So
it sucks. But okay. So going back to the characters. So would you be okay with like, hey, I'm going to be bad boy. I'm going to be that moniker for my entire career. Or are you like, hey, one day I'm going to drop that bad boy. That's an easy heel turn. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to be like prim and proper, like Joey Janela. Or are you just like, no, man, I'm just going to ride this out till I die?
No, I think the bad boy things, I think I'll keep with that deal. Heartbreak Kid was always a Heartbreak Kid, even though he
turned heel. Yeah.
Right now he's a Heartbreak Kid and he's not a kid.
Oh,
but
definitely not.
I think just keeping that moniker. I got the trademark for it now because a few people try to come after me. So I got that. So I might as well just run with it. But there's definitely ways to evolve it into something else. And we're working on that right now. And I think next year is going to be my biggest year yet as a professional wrestler.
That's crazy because once again, from the documentary to where you were to where you are now, so many leaps and bounds. And I don't know if this is kind of part of your plan or you always knew that you could make it to this level and perform at the highest level. I don't know. This might be a hokey question to ask you, but I mean, could you envision this when you were the 15-year-old drunk boy being now prominent on AEW television? Not that you knew AEW would be around when you were 15, but I guess that's the hokey question I'm going to ask.
I think I always thought some I'd make it somewhat in the business. In my mid-20s, I was pretty confident that I was going to make some money in wrestling. So I think, I always thought I was going to do something. I just, I didn't know it was going to be a completely new company out of nowhere. I thought I was always going to be the WWE. But yeah, it just, it was a blessing. It came and I picked a great place to work because the person that runs it's a great person, and the people around me are great people. And it's not corporate. I'm not tiptoeing around the back, So it's just I just picked a great place to work, and I'm glad to be on board.
No, everybody from that we talked to, that we interview on AEW, or that works for AEW, they talk about how great the company is and how it's so different and stuff like that. Oh, here comes Dmitri. Let me get this question out before Dmitri hops on. So what you have is rare. Like a lot of people don't have that connection with the fans that you do. Like that's very rare to come by. Like, why do you feel the fans are connected to you? Like, do you feel like you got some sort of secret that, you just know how to connect with them?
I think I'm always working, to be honest. I mastered social media. Right now I at the most polarizing point of my wrestling career. You either love me or you hate my guts, and you don't want to see me on TV or you don't want to see me succeed. It's because I'm always working, because people don't know, what's real and what's fake. And I think that's just, that's why every week it seems like these days there's always some kind of dirt sheet headline with my name in it.
Yeah.
So I'm always working, and, I just know how to, it's a very strange thing. I think I just learned how to develop just being still young and starting in this business so young. So.
Well, before we get into the news that you made, I guess we'll say it last week with the mask and everything. Let me introduce you to Dmitri Young. Okay?
Hey, Dmitri.
Dennis.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, bad boy?
Well, what's up?
Not a whole lot, man. I just came back from Club Nip myself.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm watching you. Hey, you got some funny stuff going on.
Thank you, pal. Thank you.
Hey, you're very welcome.
Did you want to throw out a question, Dmitri, before we move on?
No, I was just kind of curious about the whole Club Nip thing, because I find it very fascinating, especially with you and Sonny Kiss breaking up and stuff. I think that y'all had it was an interesting relationship to say the least, because the things that goes on there at AEW, they're doing things that no other company is doing. And so, I just, I'm a fan and I like watching it. I'm just curious on what's going to happen in your future.
I think it's the Nip Factory. I think Club Nip is another place in maybe in Sacramento or something. But yeah, we're just thinking of ways just to, do things different. And they kind of just don't tell me what to say. So I just think of stuff. And right now, I think that's if we run with it a little bit more, stuff like that and stuff with Alex Marvez, I think it's going to be very good for me going forward. I feel like it will. I've never really had a chance really to talk in AEW and connect on a promo level, even though I always knew I could. And I think that was one of the issues with me and why I haven't in the last year really have gotten over and connected with the new audience that's coming in, is because I never got a chance to do those and talk and stuff. So I think I'm just going to keep on rolling with it, and everyone's loving it. So yeah, God bless the Nip Factory.
God bless them. So let's move on away from wrestling. Making the news. So I've briefly read it, saw some clips. I'm still confused. I still don't know exactly like what happened. Can you walk us through like all of like what happened?
So Drake Younger, he is a former deathmatch wrestler on the independents. When I was a teenager, he was probably the top American deathmatch wrestler. He had some problems, like most deathmatch wrestlers do. You're putting yourself through a lot of pain and stuff, especially when you're doing it full time. Became addicted to drugs and whatnot. Eventually, he got in shape. He cleaned himself up. He found God, which I can't harp on him for that. Everyone has their way to, get rid of those demons if they ever do get rid of them. He got a job with WWE as a referee, and he was with them for a very long time, and he was respected there, and he was highly talked about, and how he was a good guy, a nice guy, a great guy. And, I respected him because he went from indie deathmatch wrestler to making a good living, making a family, and I'm not a god, I'm not a religious person, but I had to commend him for turning his life around. But recently he started going off about crazy conspiracies, and I've always been infatuated with the people who believe in the conspiracies, especially around when a mass shooting would happen or a terrorist attack, and there were false flags and there was this and that. And I've always been infatuated with those people. And those are the kind of people that I think that now believe in the whole 8chan, QAnon theories. And some of them are just so ridiculous. And, I'm not a political person. I'm not going to say I'm a person on the left or in the middle. I just, I really, everything kind of is interesting to me when it comes to politics and whatnot. And it's just he just was going off and just saying ridiculous stuff, and people started to pick it up on the internet, and people that he worked with started to kind of not like him anymore. And he started saying some crazy things which rubbed people the wrong way. And I started to pay attention more and more until one day, which was all over the internet, that he was just crazy conspiracy theorist guy who believed in this and that, and a lot of the bad groups out there that, just were sharing bad beliefs. And one day I just saw a Trump rally. I'm not going to say I have friends that are Trump supporters. We're Trump supporters. I've said that publicly before. I believe everyone should have a right to their voice, right to their beliefs. But once you get over you go to a certain point and you start spouting out these crazy beliefs or this racially insensitive stuff, that's it. I'm done with you. So So he was going off, and I saw this Trump rally on the corner in Orlando, and I decided to just take a video of me going asking where Drake is. And that caught a little fire on the internet. And he hit me up, contacted me. He goes, "Why would you do me like that? I've always supported you. I've always talked highly of you. Why would you?" And I had to explain to him, I'm like, "Listen, you brought it on yourself by spouting these crazy things on the internet." And then he just I talked to him on the treadmill for 30 minutes, and then he was trying to convince me why this is this, or why this is good, or why this isn't racist. And I just was like, this is ridiculous. All right, I'll hang up the phone. I'll probably, hopefully, maybe never talk to you again, because some of the stuff he was saying was just ridiculous. Like, it was just crazy. So then, he got David Bixenspan. He's a big time wrestling reporter and stuff. I've always been real tight with him, and we always just message each other about the Drake stuff. And he would show me this new stuff, or whether he's on this forum or this, or on Facebook, or his wife was posting this. So I always like, oh God, this guy has completely lost it. Eventually, WWE told him to knock it off publicly, or we're going to fire you. He didn't knock it off. They suspended him. He came back. He did a meeting with some hosts in the backstage of NXT with his somewhere NXT, and he had his shirt on, and he did this like Zoom meeting, and then he got released. So that was it, and then it started to get crazier after he got released. Now there's no filter. There's no one telling him what to say. So then yesterday I was bored. I was in Jersey for 2 weeks, and then I went to LA for Jungle Boy's birthday, and then I went to Wyoming for GCW, which was quite crazy week for me. So went there, came back, bored out of my mind, because I just had fun for about 10 days, just drinking and having fun. And I was bored yesterday, and then I saw Bixenspan start tweeting about how he was watching a live YouTube meeting, school board meeting, for them to take the masks off the kids. And he's been spouting for weeks that the masks on the children are going to cause some kind of sex trafficking ring where they can just snatch the kids up with the masks. And I don't know what that conspiracy is, but I think it's completely ridiculous. So
Agreed.
Doing that, and he's been doing this thing at this school board meeting, and I knew he lived close to me, so I hit up Bixenspan. I said, how far is that meeting? Give me the address. So then I type it in my GPS, and it says 29 minutes. So then I hit up the promoter of GCW, who I'm in a group, and John Carlo. He was producer for WWE. They've been my good friends. We're in a group chat on Facebook, just talking. We're all, kind of the ship of GCW runs in that group chat. So then we're all just talking, and I said, I'm going to try to go to this meeting right now. And I said, all right, I said I wanted to go to the meeting, but I didn't have a proper disguise to get in the meeting, and I really wanted to go overboard with it. I really wanted to do a Sacha Baron Cohen bit, and just mess with him. So I said, no, I'm not going to be able to make it. I don't have this thing. I wanted to have props. I wanted to speak. So then I said, wait a second. It's 29 minutes. I say to Brett, I said, I'm going to go try to do this. He said, they've been talking for 2 hours already. You're not going to make it in time. So I said, okay. I said, well, I hit up Bix. I said, how long do you think this is going to go? He goes, well, they've been talking for 2 hours, and there's still all these speakers to go. So I went to the Ross store, which is basically like Marshall's with like discount clothing. I ran in there real quick. I found the first plaid shirt I could find, found a first tan pants I could find, and a pair of gas station sunglasses. Pulled them off, $36. I go into the gas station. I see a bunch of, I went to a Walgreens, see a bunch of Orlando baseball caps. I said, someone going to this meeting would wear that. I took that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I sped. I made it in, I think, 29 minutes. I made it in 20 minutes. now I have the feed on my phone, so I know right now. I said, who's speaking? Drake just spoke. I missed him. I wanted to interrupt him. But I missed him, so I was just like, all right. So then I run out. I throw the pants on. I throw the shirt on as I'm driving. I have a pair of flip-flops on. I said that's something I would wear with this outfit. So I try to get it. I try to get in the door. It's locked. Everything is locked. I run around the building. I checked every door. It's all locked. I said, all right. I hit up Bix. I said, everything is locked. I said, I'm not getting in here. So then I walk around again to the front door, and now I notice there's a guard right there. So he runs to the door. He opens the door for me. I said, sorry, I just got out of work. Where's the school board meeting for the mask mandate? And I said, oh, it's right over there. So I run in. And so then I run in, and then I was like, so then I want to sit by the camera, but I messed up, and then
always know what it is.
Yeah.
I sat by Drake, and I said, let's get a selfie, man. And he goes, hi, Joey, how you been? He knew it was me right away. He knew I was there to fuck with him. So I said, Drake, you wouldn't believe this. I'm a big believer in Christ now. I'm born again. I would like to speak. How can I speak at the podium? He goes, you got to fill out a form for that, buddy, beforehand. So then I'm like, oh, shit. I said, what do I do now? So then some professor or some doctor starts talking, and obviously I'm starting to look around, and people are starting to get disgusted by what this guy is saying. So then I start yelling at him. Your time is up. Your time is up. Your time is up. And then I go directly right behind the podium where the camera is, and I'm causing such a stir. Whoever's changes the camera angle so they can't see me. So I'm like, all right. So then some woman sheriff walks up to me. She goes, you spat again, you're gonna get kicked out. At this point, I'm like, Jesus, do I really want to get arrested for this? I would take the arrest, and I could just get a GoFundMe and not pay a cent from these fans that love this stuff. I start yelling. I just start yelling again. I'm like, this. I said, I'm just frustrated with this mask bullshit. And I just walk out. Now, I think they're on to me that there's something going on with me, that I'm not there for the right reasons. So as I'm walking out, I notice there's two guys in suits. I guess they're with the school board, and a couple cops. They follow me outside, but I'm speed walking through the front door. Just to make sure I'm out for good. So then I go out and I jump my car, and then there's a whole flock of people out front, just like looking at me, jump in my shitty Toyota Yaris 2009, I think it is, that still runs somehow. And I speed away. I see everyone out there. I go, oh shit. So then I hit up Bix. I hit up a few other people that are watching. I said, did you see me? Did you see what I did? And everyone's like, no, you fucked up. They said, we didn't see anything. We didn't see you at all. I go, oh man, I messed up. I blew my opportunity. I said, damn it. I said, I should have sat in this seat. Should have done this. I messed up. So then later in the night, I just decided to post a selfie and post a thing and post a little tweet saying, with all these crazy hashtags and whatnot. And it caught fire. People loved it. And I was like, all right, at least we made something good out of it. And everyone's laughing. And then people started to pull clips out of the meeting where you can kind of hear me going off. And then today I haven't slept the last few days. I woke up at 3 p.m. I look at my Twitter, and my Twitter is just swamped. It's either people that think I was actually there to lift the mask mandate, and I was now a QAnon guy and right-wing extraordinaire. Then I noticed that that Cornette picked up on it, and I actually worked him into thinking that I was that as well, which is not the first time I worked Jim Cornette. That's why he hates me so much, because I'm always working, and I'm probably one of the only people to work him and his followers, and I'm one of the only people that can spat back with him. So he retweeted something and said that we're two Ps and we should be locked away in an institution or something.
Saw that.
So then everyone starts, either they know they're in on the joke. There's those people that loving this knew I was trolling these people. There's the people that think I'm now a right-wing guy. And there's also people who knew I was joking, but they hate me so much that they said I brought too much attention to Drake and I platformed him. And because of my outburst, I possibly could have costed the pro-mask people the meeting. And it was just a whole shitstorm of social media. Then I scroll down more, and then someone pulled out a news clip of me storming out on the news. I said, okay. They're like, this man, he stormed out after an outburst. And then it really started to get traction. So, all right. So that was it. And I got a text from a Florida number earlier today, and it was Drake. He said, nice to talk to you for a short bit last night. He goes, I'm right down the street if you need anything. And then, I don't know if I worked him into thinking that I'm really a born again Christian guy and right wing guy. Maybe he can convert me. No, I don't think so. Never. But it was a fun thing, and people just really enjoy this. It was just ridiculous. It was just a very Andy Kaufman-esque thing to add to my repertoire of just a ridiculous timeline of a wrestling career. So
now, I got to say something, Joey. A, phenomenal story, but B, if you don't start showing up on anything AEW and storming out in that outfit, whether it's being the elite and whatnot, you are missing a golden opportunity. Bad boy Janela, the Stormer.
I think we need to do something on being the elite.
You just
especially
scenes.
Hey, when we get wrapped up in here, in a little bit, will you storm off of our show?
That's it. I'll just hang up and storm out the door.
Go to the Knit Factory.
The Knit Factory, or Big Mommy Milkers. Dmitri, would you want to go to Big Mommy Milkers? You like the Big Mommy Milkers?
Motorboat. Yes, sir.
Oh boy.
I mean, he's a MLB All-Star. Of course he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get some drinks sometime, especially if you like the Big Mommy Milkers, like I do.
Indeed.
Wow. I'll be honest. This story is going to blow the podcast up. I can't wait for it. Thank you so much for telling us this on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to get some traction, especially I haven't done a podcast in about a year. I usually have to go through a publicist or some shit. I just said, fuck it for you guys. I just said, I'm going to do this podcast because you guys, you listed the people that are on this podcast. And I just this is an interesting dynamic as I ever heard for a podcast. So I'm just going to go with the flow and go for it. And just so happened that stuff happened yesterday, but I think it's going to get a lot of traction, me telling this story, because it's the first time I'm telling the story in full detail.
So for the people watching at home, this is pre-recorded, and we are actually recording this interview like the day after. So what we'll probably end up doing is taking a chunk of this, putting this out in the news now, and then you guys will be able to watch the rest of it, when it airs on Fight TV. So
we'll discuss with our publicists and stuff like that to see how we want to. We want to.
Yeah.
You guys can do whatever you want. I'm cool. I think I risk getting in trouble enough by doing stupid stuff like I did yesterday. I don't think a podcast is too much on the radar right now.
But the benefit for it, I want to talk about, is you auctioning off the outfit, which to me is the best part of the story, because you are pulling some good from it. It's not just a Joey Janela, the bad boy prank, or you getting some laughs on someone. You're actually doing good because of this.
Yeah. The big thing with Drake is he's very, like a lot of born again Christians are, they're very against pro-choice. They're very pro-life people. I believe in pro-choice, for sure. And I figured it'd just be something cool just to auction off this outfit. And the bids are getting pretty decent. I think someone said at 11:59, they're just going to make a big bid just to get the outfit. And I hope that happens, because it would be great to see a great bid go to charity. I'll send him the outfit tomorrow. I'll sign it. And who knows? This is one of those stories that could go throughout the years. Since I was a kid, I would get the Pro Wrestling Almanac, or, I was never really, or read the shitty dirt sheets on the internet as a kid. And there's always the stories I never heard from when I was real little. I would hear as a teenager and read about, and just ridiculous stories like the story of me and Enzo getting into almost a fight at a Blink-182 show has haunted me and for the last 3 years. It's just one of those stories that's always gonna be there. Like I forgot who Hawk got into a fight with at a Metallica show or something in a bathroom, or just stupid, crazy stories that you can't believe that's a real thing. But thank God social media exists in 2021, so it's all documented.
Absolutely.
Dmitri?
Yeah, I'm glad that it happens now, because my playing days, if we had social media, there'd be a whole bunch of people not playing. So I'm glad.
Yeah. There'd be a whole lot of people. A lot of people would be cut short there, in the wrestling business as well. But thank God social media is around these days for stuff like this, and kind of weird stories with a feel-good ending. And I hope it ends well for him, because I don't know, he's far gone right now. Drake, as I'm saying, is just who knows. But I don't hate the guy. I just find these people very interesting. I always found these people very, very interesting.
Let's change the subject a little bit and talk a little bit more about you, because that's why you're here. And you were a wrestling fan. What did you cut your teeth on? What was some of the wrestling that you kind of hark back to as what you grew up on?
Man, at first it was always the colorful stuff, the Hulk Hogan's, the Warriors of the World. Kind of fell out of wrestling for a few years. And then I came back when the cruiserweights were blowing up. Mysterio, Jericho, Ultimo Dragon. It kind of brought me, WCW brought me back in. Then Steve Austin really just engulfed me. That was it for me. Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Attitude Era just kind of, captured me. And then after that, it was I found out about ECW, and ECW just big time changed my life, which then got me into some of the independents afterwards that kind of tried to fill the place of ECW, the CCWs, the Ring of Honors, and some of that stuff. And then, I was always a big fan of, along with ECW, I found out about the deathmatch stuff in Japan, FMW, Big Japan. And I got those tapes from tape traders and stuff at indie shows. And that was it. And then, it was only 5 years later that I found my way into the wrestling business, and I was trying to get the CZW right away, going to CZW shows, still trying to talk to Zandig, telling him I would do a death match at 16 years old. And he had just, probably obvious bullshit. Oh, yeah, kid, you would? Yeah. I talked to Zandig and his son trying to get into CZW. Eventually, 19, I did weasel my way into there, but not as much as I'd like. And maybe 4 years after that, that's when I really came into my own and got into CCW and started from there, getting in all the top indie promotions. And that was it for me.
So just a comment. So first off, when you, had your death match with Zandig, great Canadian Destroyer he did on you. Love it.
Yes.
But so untrained. Okay. But you started when you were 15 and all that kind of stuff and went up, right? But obviously you're a good worker. Okay. Who has helped you out along the way since then? Who are the ones that are like, hey kid, maybe you should try this, try that. Who kind of took you under their wing? There's
still a misconception that I'm untrained now. That's not the case at all.
Okay. That's what it's reported that you're like, hey, I'm untrained.
Yeah. That's why that's a lot of haters. A lot of people just say, oh, that's why they just say, oh yeah, he's untrained, he's a risk in the ring. No, after I started wrestling, I found a guy in Philly named Teddy Fine. Trained with him for a year at the Pro Wrestling Unplugged school. Trained with Trent Acid a little bit.
Oh, Trent.
Yeah, Trent was a big inspiration to me. Kind of right before his death, started to take me under his wing and stuff. Trent Acid, and then after that, I started hitting camps and seminars. I have a who's who of camp and seminar list. I have over 50 seminars and camps. Then I started just training at schools all around. Eventually ended up in CZW in 2009, trained there for a good 8 months. When I realized DJ Hyde was a kind of a dipshit and wasn't going to book me as he promised, I kind of bailed out of there. Just started doing the indies training. Then I started training under Pat Buck at Pro Wrestling Syndicate. I trained with him around maybe 2 years in Rahway, New Jersey. Then we had a falling out. We're real tight. We're cool now. But I trained under him, and then I went back to CCW after that, trained, started working with Tracy Williams and Drew Gulak, who kind of said to DJ, like, you got to give this guy a chance. He's really good. So then I trained there, and then that was kind of it when it came to that was the end of my training. I don't like to train these days because I fuck my body up enough, and training 3 days a week is not going to really benefit me. It's going to more hurt me these days. I'd rather just wrestle more in front of crowds and whatnot. So that clears the misconception that I'm still untrained. I've trained more than a lot of guys, to be honest, just over the years. I've spent over 20,000 probably in camps and seminars. So
Dmitri, you get the last question.
Well, I mean, everything that you guys are talking about, I was going to follow up with all the training and stuff that you did. Were there a group of guys, a certain person that was like your running buddy, somebody that you confided in on your way up?
I don't know. Not really. I don't know.
I know you mentioned
trying to think.
Trent Acid. Like, it seems like.
Yeah, he was a big inspiration to me as a teenager. And then I kind of just, he kind of knew me since I was 15. Always just messing with me and stuff. And I was just always like, I always thought Trent Acid at that time was one of the best workers, even though we all knew he was fucked up on something. But he just went to prison, and then he got out of prison, and I think he went to prison twice. He got out the second time, and the promoter that I started with, Dapper, who I sold tickets for coming up, he was really putting me on all the shows now, and he would put me against the shitty ticket sellers because I can make them look good and give them something. So he's like, Trent is getting out of jail this week. How would you like to wrestle him? I said, that'd be awesome. And I got to wrestle him about 4 months before he passed away. And we really just, cool. He told me never to fly myself overseas. I said, my big goal was to go to Japan. He said, don't ever fly yourself there in your fucking mark. And you'll never get things. It'll feel better when you actually make it there. And I finally did make it there with GCW. It was only a short tour, but it did feel really good to finally make it to Japan. But right now, when things open up, I'll be going over there. There's a lot of interest over there, so I'll be over there hopefully for a full tour, depending on AEW restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find you? What are some of the next shows that you're going to be either doing commentary on or booking? I just let the fans know everything, man.
I'll be coming back soon. I'm dealing with a little injury right now, a little concussion deal. So shit happens. Everyone knows that. It's wrestling. All sports. Everyone gets concussions. So I'll be cleared for that, I think, in coming weeks, maybe the coming weekend. So I'll be good. I'll be doing hopefully some AEW stuff soon. Things were about to pick up for me there right before that happened. So I got a couple of GCW shows. I think I'm on every GCW show this summer. We got shows beginning of July in Texas, in Houston and Dallas. I think that's July 9th and 10th.
Okay.
Then the next week they go to Mexico. I won't be there for that. Then the weekend after that is the big shows in Atlantic City, Homecoming. I'm going to be on those shows. Those are be some of the biggest GCW shows ever. Then the week after that, I think it's a couple week break. Then we're going to go to Los Angeles, back in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles SummerSlam weekend, we're going to be in Las Vegas. And then they're going to be in Chicago all out weekend. I won't be on those shows, but I'm pretty packed up this summer when it comes to indie stuff. I'm only choosing to do GCW right now, which is my home promotion besides AEW. But whatever shows I'm not wrestling on, I'll be doing commentary on. So that's just to sharpen my skills. And, I just like hanging out with that's my crew. I like hanging out with the boys. And these guys are probably the last they say the tagline for GCW is the last outlaws. And I think that in the case of partying after the shows and not sleeping for 3 days and just delivering in the ring, I think it's the closest thing to ECW as there ever was, because these guys, like that team right now, that roster is definitely the craziest partying roster I've ever been a part of.
Well,
I just like partying with the boys. That's it. It's like on TV now, I learned my lessons about showing up to a 20-hour TV day while being hungover. I've learned my lesson big time. So I used to do all the indie shows hungover. I never had a problem because I could go sleep under a table or something and be all right for my match. TV is a whole different animal, and I learned that very quickly. So I separate the partying and AEW, and I save that stuff for the my indie outlaw fuck fest.
Yeah.
Billy, we are all massive fans of yours on this podcast, and hopefully next time we'll get you on. Lars and D-Mac will both be on, because I know they both would love to just sit down and chew the fat with you. But we appreciate you stopping by and talking to us three.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. Petey,
Yes.
we got to get you on. We got to get you on. We got to get you on GCW if you're willing, for sure.
Hell yeah, man.
I'll talk to Brett ASAP as soon as this is over. We got to figure out something, because too many fucks using your move and not doing it correctly. At least, I think Marty Jannetty, to be honest, is done it the best to me than most of these indie fucks. So
yeah, hey man,
that's it.
I'd be more than happy, man. Let's make that happen. All right,
let's make it happen. Hell yeah.
For everybody at home, the podcast is over. We'll say our goodbyes off the air. Thank you so much for watching the Wrestling Perspective, and we'll see you next week, guys.